Hey, love. Welcome to the Shy Love Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. Hosted by yours truly, Melanie Hogan. And we are sponsored by Shy Love LLC. Now, before we start part two on Kanye West's presidential run, let's take 3 deep breaths. We here at the Shy Love Radio Show always start off our shows taking 3 deep breaths. Deep breathing is essential for healing and coping and maintaining and elevating. You gotta breathe. So let's take 3 deep breaths, hold for 3 seconds, and release. 1, 2, 3. Now check out our previous show. We were talking about Kanye West and his presidential run. He is a 43-year-old Chicago native. His platform is yes. He is running as an independent under the BDY party, which represents the birthday party. So check out that episode as we'll continue to move on to his next stance on the platform of the need for racial healing after George Floyd. Hugs to George Floyd's daughter and family and loved ones and everybody who was traumatized and is still working through the trauma of having to witness either personally or through social media that unjust death by those Minnesota police officers. But it has definitely sparked a change here. So his death is not in vain. But hugs to everybody who felt the pain and the hurt and the turmoil and the confusion behind something that definitely could have been prevented. Even some of the other officers who were involved are admitting that that situation could have been dealt with differently. So presidential hopeful Kanye West has said, God has already started the healing. This conversation alone is healing and revealing. We all need to start praying and kneeling. And then he said, and another bar after that. But when the rhyme comes together, I'm going to complete it not inside the lines created by organizations that we know as our reality. So as I stated in the last show, Kanye West is an artist. He has a special mind. He's not lying. He is special. And he has a special mind. And sometimes you have to open up your mind to receive another type of perspective. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. He's an artist. He answered the question and came up with a few bars. We all need to stop praying and kneeling. This conversation alone is healing and revealing. You did? And he says that he does his thing on his according to his own vibe. not in accordance to what we were conditioned, in the order that we were conditioned to create in or respond in. So, okay. He said that the schools, the infrastructure was made for us not to truly be all we can be, but to just be good enough to work for the corporations that design the school system. He said, we're tearing that up. What we'll do is we're not going to tear up the Constitution. What we'll do is amend. Now, that's something that I am in agreement with regarding the Constitution. It definitely does need to be amended. It definitely does need to be amended. And it's crazy because it's like, you know, Black people, it's like, you're not going to erase us. You're not going to keep us up under a rock for your own personal use to help to elevate you while we continue to sit in poverty, continue to move in vain. We're saying no. And the white people like, and you're not going to erase us. We're not going to switch sides with you. This is our history. Just like us Black people are talking about our ancestors, they reference their ancestors. And it's a lot of tradition that people are continuing to walk in because of great great grandmama, great great granddaddy, and their views on the world. So as long as we keep thinking with the mentality that we are the only ones right, we are the only ones important, we are the only ones who are allowed to be powerful, it's always going to be some problems. Because see, where we differ in color, we are similar, we are the same under the rule of humanity, okay? So we need to fix some things. We need to be inclusive of some people. We need to accept that some things is what it is and find a way to still have some type of inner peace. We need to find a way for where what is for you, but it is not taking from or oppressing another person or another people. Maybe the infrastructure of the schools have damaged the minds, because while we tell these kids, you know, you could be anything, are you really exercising and helping to build up and heal what trauma already has been had and recondition the mind to use past the normal 10%? And that was the average back in the day, and then dropped now because technology and everything just made people use their brains less. But at the same time, you got a lot of people using their brains more because they're continuing to be innovative and invent, to create, as we all are supposed to be doing. All are. So yeah, there are some things that need to be amended in the Constitution. There are some things that need to be amended in the universe, some things that need to be amended in the world, amended in the city, amended in your neighborhood, amended in your house, amended in yourself. And just because you got to fix some things or restructure some things or omit some things or omit some things doesn't mean that you're less worthy, babe. It just means that you are acknowledging that certain things are actually limiting you from being your best self, and you just making those changes. Just because you were taught that it's supposed to go this way, you do have your own brain to take a step back and look to see how effective this really is. How are you affected? How are your family affected? How your neighborhood is affected? How your city is affected? Your state is affected? Your world is affected? But a lot of times people don't look past how the me part. So yeah, we do need a lot of amending. And we could do it. We just gotta adjust to change. We don't like change a lot of times, but these are necessary changes. We can't continue to keep repeating the same cycles, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going back, and I can't stay at this level, so I gotta keep going. And in order to keep going, you got to keep learning. You got to keep growing. You got to keep healing. You got to keep reconditioning. You got to keep elevating. You got to keep stretching yourself some. You got to make yourself uncomfortable in certain things. You got to keep learning. Wrinkle them synapses in your brain. But to each his own. To each its own. On Black History Month, he calls it torture porn. Now, who just heard that and said, in regards to Black history, Kanye West just called it torture porn? See, this all messages in. Who man just went there? Because as I said, a lot of times the first thing that comes out his mouth can turn a person off or enrage them, or I'm gonna give the third option, intrigue them. Cause it's like, now, what you mean by that, Jesus? He said he ain't Jesus. He Jesus' brother. He Jesus. What you mean by that, Jesus? He said every year they gotta remind us about the fact that we couldn't vote. The white supremacy construct. Our minds are so much more infinite than what's coming across TikTok or Instagram. He said, what's trying to influence our children and the next generation of who we are. Our minds are so much more infinite than what we're seeing on social media, than what we're hearing in this music, than what we're seeing on TV, than what we're seeing out in the streets. Kanye West says that we are going to be a beautiful, uplifting, fun, creative process as a people. It's going to be a beautiful, uplifting, fun, creative process as a people, as America collectively, and show the world how great we are. He's about greatness. He's about greatness. And every year, it's hard for me personally to watch those slavery movies, those movies of injustice toward my people, the visuals of the stories that I've heard as a child. It's hard. It's saddening. It hurts you. It confuses you. You don't understand why do they hate us so much. It angers you over and over again. I would love to see more movies that showed us who we were before slavery, because you do understand that it's royalty before slavery, right? You do understand that in order for the white man to even capture you, to take you as property to work for you, they obviously saw that you had it in you to get the job done. You understand that? Even though they told you you was nothing. Why would an employer employ you if you could not do the job in their eyes, huh? But told you you was nothing. Knowing your history is important so that you don't continuously repeat it, so that you can be empowered to, take that scroll and keep running that, run to that next lap, or hit that finish line in your segment of life to try to take your people further. But it would be great to see more Black history movies that are positive, that are uplifting, that are more powerful, that show us winning in the end after all. That would be great, because it's like, okay, we went through that part, but we also, elevated in this part, overcame on this part, elevated in this part. Like, that'd be great, especially for our Black youth out here who just feel like it's not gonna change. Shoot, especially for a lot of the elders who even feel like it's not going to change because they've seen it all, heard it all, and seen it once again. So ultimately, the whole story needs to start to be told. So Forbes, during his Forbes interview, Kanye West was asked about having COVID-19, because in the bullets from the previous show, he admitted to being a COVID-19 survivor. He said chills, shaking in the bed, taking hot showers, looking at videos telling him what he was supposed to do to get over it. So he said he went through it. It's real. He experienced those symptoms at an elevated levels, in alignment to what they said he would experience with having a positive COVID result. And then he added that someone had told him that Drake had it, and he replied that Drake couldn't be sicker than him. LOL. Now, OMG. OMG. Okay. One, that's a indicator something can't be sicker, something can't be greater. He's all about that number one spot. You look at it like that. He's all about, if he gonna be sick, he gonna be the sickest. If he gonna be great, he gonna be the greatest. Get out here. So on him running in 2020, he said that God gave him the clarity and said it's time. He referenced this to his hospitalizations and how people called him crazy. Call him crazy. He denies being crazy. He spoke about the perils of the music industry and how the money don't match up with, and how when the money don't match up, now that can make one crazy. But he said, as far as running for the president in 2020, now it's time. And we're not going crazy. We going Yeezy. He said it's a whole nother level now. Nother. Notha. It's a whole nother level now. I promise you this, it'll never be one dull moment, baby. It won't be one dull moment. And you know something about the people that they call crazy? a lot of times the next generation discover the truth in what that previous person was saying. Because at that time when they're saying it, because you're conditioned to a certain belief system or a certain way of thinking, when somebody is saying something outside of that, oh my God, they're crazy. If somebody's saying something you don't understand, oh my God, they're crazy. And later, as you start to see the manifestation of it, the truth always is going to come out. The truth, it will always come to light. So if it was seemed crazy, perceived to be crazy, just continue to pay attention to check in on it from time to time and see if the manifestation is coming behind it. Now let's talk about how Kanye West feels about Joe Biden. He says they feel all blacks have to be Democrats. He referenced to Joe Biden, who said that if we don't vote for him, then we aren't black. And we act like we didn't hear. He said, and we act like we didn't hear that man say that. He's saying, where's the uproar? He said, this white man just said that if we don't vote for him, then we aren't black. Like not voting for him is going to take our black card away from us. You want to know why he felt comfortable saying that? Because we said. I ain't never seen another race of people revoke one's authenticity from them because of their belief system or how they act, and it's not in conformity with the way that they think. So now all of a sudden you have your black card revoked, but we all supposed to come together in unity. Maybe you should have some black cards back. Kanye West says it's a wrap. He says we're gonna walk all the people. He said Jay-Z said it best. I'm glad he is, missing him with his brother and still loving his brother, him and Jay-Z LaSalle. We love them both here at the Shallow Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. It's best to just try to come to peace with situations, just for your own sanity, for your own peace of mind. Do what you can do to fix situations and make them right. A lot of narcissists, and we do have a lot of narcissists out here. Unfortunately, they don't make their situations right because they don't even acknowledge or accept that they actually did something wrong, regardless of the impact that it has had, regardless of the results from it. But for those who are not narcissists, fix what you can, love. Fix what you can. If you played a role up in it, fix what you can and try to find some type of inner peace. Now, his advice to candidates running against him. Now, I spoke of Kanye West's mentality of So Chicago. This is another So Chicago statement right here. Kanye West says to his candidates who are running against him, I gracefully suggest y'all bow out. Now, he said that nicely. He didn't give it to you the Chicago raw way. He was humble about it, but he bottom lined you, bow out. It's over. I'm in it. It's over. I gracefully suggest y'all bow out. It's God's country. We are doing everything in service to God. Nobody but Mama Daddy God no more. I am in service of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I put everything I get on the line to serve God. Well, he said what he meant. Hopefully, you come across people who are sincere. And unfortunately, In a world full of lollipops, that's kind of rare. Shout out to DMX for that phrase right there. But when you do, you might not like what they saying, but you have a surety in knowing that it's sincere, it's genuine, whether you like it or not. And I respect the truth, whether I like it or not. And this is where he's saying and he's saying bow out. Oh, his stance on developing policies. He speaks against the word policy, and he feels like policy should be um, substituted for the word design. He said he didn't have a policy when he went to Nike and designed Yeezy, and when he went to Louis and designed a Louis Vuitton at the same time. He said we need to innovate the design to be able to free the mind at this time. He all about freeing their mind. Free your mind and the rest will follow. That's what En Vogue said. I don't know if y'all know about his beginnings here in Chicago, but he is truly elevated significantly. So he doing something that's effective. As far as his Wakanda management model, he says that the framework of Wakanda is the best way to explain what his design group is going to feel like in the White House. See? I said sometimes the first thing that come up out his little mouth, you like, what the hell? But when you listen to the rest of it, you'll see where he's trying to go with this. He said it's a positive idea despite African Americans not liking our representation in that movie. Kanye West acknowledges himself as one of the most powerful humans. He is not claiming the most because, quote, you got a lot of alien level superpowers and it's only collectively that we can set it free. So that's why he's not the most powerful, because you got a lot of alien level superpowers and it's only collectively that we can set it free. Okay? And it's funny because he has said, he said stuff like this. I am one of the most powerful humans. I am a god. I am the greatest. He says stuff like that. And he gets torn down from it. But as he said in a previous interview, if he was to say that he's a nigga or he's a savage or, one of the derogatory, demeaning comments that we so often hear us say about ourselves and each other, then that would be fine. But when you're talking to that higher part of yourself, then people saying you crazy and you conceited and, you should be able to have some self-confidence, people. You know what you done been through. Well, get to know who you are. You should have some type of idea of self. Being confident and being conceited is two different things. Being confident and being a narcissist is two different things. You got to build yourself up. Look at all the stuff around you. You see more negative than positive a lot of times. So nothing's wrong with building yourself up. But try to let your behavior and your character match that, okay? Because a lot of people are saying that they one thing and then it's coming across that it's something else. So we all have some things that we need to work on and continue to heal from and continue to recondition, but just continue. So as far as the Wakanda management model, he likens the structure to the scene in Wakanda when the king went to visit that lead scientist, to have the shoes wrap around her shoes. Y'all remember that part? He compares that to the type of innovation that can happen, and also reference innovation in medicine, i.e. big pharma. He said we're going to work and innovate together. We're going to do this together. This is not going to be some Nipsey Hussle being murdered. And he also let everybody know that they are doing a documentary on his impact. And Nipsey didn't, his death was not in vain, baby. A lot of people woke up. A lot of people started to wake up, check into Dr. CB and them, and started to take more stance. And now we have June 10th and 10th, and you know, his death definitely was not in vain. And if you watched, first of all, hugs to Lauren London and his family and everybody that loves him. But it was disheartening. It was unfortunate. You know, this man came a long way, but at the same time, it's like you could feel that spark of change in the air. The atmosphere changed. And if you saw when his mother spoke so eloquently, so peacefully, so genuinely, you know, it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. So his death definitely was not in vain, and it did help to spark more of a change and awaken more people. So check out his documentary. He also says that we have so many soldiers that died for our freedom of information, that there is a cure for AIDS out there. There's going to be a big pharma, a mixture of big pharma and holistic. Now, I actually think that's a good idea, to have a mixture of the medicines or whatever earthly designs to heal the body with the holistic aspect. Because if you watch the Shy Love radio shows, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium, a lot of times the physical ailments are connected to some type of mental issue, emotional issue, financial issue, spiritual issue. It's all connected. So we need to target each level of the illness. And we need to combat it from multiple angles at the same time. That's why I advocate care plans for situations. Because a care plan, you're going to see how this affects every level and get in alignment, comment on every level, see how it's affecting every level, and then start to make the plan and see how you can start to make changes that's going to show some type of improvement. You monitor yourself, you see how effective it is, you keep a journal, or you know, some type of documentation that you can refer back to. You know, if it works, that's beautiful. You go on to your next step. If it does not work, then you go back to the drawing board on that level and see what else you can do. You seek outside sources. You listen to get to know yourself more, to see what makes you tick, what makes you move, what makes you heal. It can all be done. As far as prayers in school, Kanye says that we need to reinstate in God's state, in God's country, the fear and love of God in all schools and organizations. He said, and you chill the fear and love everything else. A lot of people push for the fear of God, the fear of God. Some people fear. They heard about how Mama Did God goes so hard that they chose to go ahead and go with the devil, because they like, truly, I heard you was the one who get down the hardest. But it's the difference between fear and reverence, respect. And see, when you form a relationship, there is no fear involved. Even when you're doing stuff that's not necessarily good for you, good for your purpose or whatever. Mom, Daddy, God wants you to form a relationship, not just fear. You don't really mess with somebody that you fear. And if you do come around to engage with them, it's not sincere. So, but you should definitely know who holds the power and who holds the key, and not take Mom, Daddy, God as some type of clown, somebody that you could, you know, do that with, because ain't nothing gonna happen behind this type of action. Like, no, love and respect, love and respect. He said that that was the plan by the devil, to have our kids committing suicide at an all-time high by removing God. The suicide rate has went up. He said to have murders in Chicago at an all-time high because the human beings working for the devil removed God and prayer from the schools. That means more drugs, more murders, more suicide. You might not like him on a personal note, but can you pull up something that goes against what he is saying, that refutes what he is saying? I mean, it was still going on, you know. Now that's also the thing. Some people are under the impression that when they get closer to Mama Daddy God, that less things happen. No, actually, sometimes more things happen, because now you are aware of more. So you see more, you're aware of more that a lot of people are walking blindly in. And once you come from that third eye, tap into that level of self, yeah, you know, things happen. But it, you know, you're not gonna stay up in it. You're definitely gonna come out of it. You're definitely going to elevate. You know, this whole spiritual conversation can go on and on and on. But nevertheless, Kanye West was asked about his stance on Texas. He said he hasn't done enough research on that yet. He said he will research Texas with the strongest experts that serve God and come back with the best solution. He said that will be my answer for anything that I haven't researched. He said he has the earplug in and he's going to use that earplug. So he's saying he is connected to Mama Daddy God. He is in tune, and he is going to walk in alignment with the messages and the things that he is inspired to do, and you know how to walk. You know, he's telling you where he at with it. And if the word God angers you, if the word God, I call God Mama Daddy. Mama Daddy God. If the word God angers you, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Even if you call your God something else, just if that terminology in itself angers you, goodness gracious. Hugs to you. Hugs to you. Hugs to you. Let's talk about China and his stance on China. Now listen, y'all. He says, Kanye West says, The NBA will open all the way back up from Nigeria to Nanchang, and the world will see the greatest athletes play. He said, as far as China, the world will experience the change in their element. The money is going to come back. He says, I love China. They're God's people also. That's true. It's not their fault in regard to the COVID because we say, I don't know if y'all seen Trump, but I seen him and I heard him when he said that he put it all on China. Like, you hear me? He didn't want to hear nothing. Even when the reporter like let him know that his words, because of the position he is in and the influence that he has, that his words could like cause a lot of problems for China. You know, they going through the COVID, the whole world was too. And Trump ain't trying to hear none of that. He like, listen, that's where I heard it came from. That's where it came from. Like, bottom line, came from them, came from the China. Like, goodness gracious. You know, people was like not trying to drive through Chinatown here in Chicago. They was not ordering that beef fried rice. uh, Kanye West said that China changed his life, his perspective, and also widened his perspective. It's good to widen your perspective. A lot of people don't know past the block that they live on. A lot of people don't never been out of Chicago, never learned about anything outside of Chicago. A lot of people living here in Chicago don't even know Chicago. So it's good to widen your perspective. And he said that China did that. And he has a personal connection to it because his mother, rest in peace and hugs to him, because we saw him publicly mourn her and continue to mourn her. And it's like, you lose, your main supporter, your A1 day one, your no matter what, and you are in the public eye, people will see you kind of unravel too sometimes. But hugs to him and hugs to her loved ones, and everybody who felt the pain of her absence. But she was a English professor who taught English in China when he was in fifth grade. So this is a black woman from Chicago, an African American woman from Chicago, who is not just an English teacher. We shout out to the teachers who are dedicating themselves to help to educate these children, our children. But she made it to be an English professor. We have a lot of African American English professors, but back in her day when she first kicked it off, it was some they want the norm, and they ain't really even the norm now. But she didn't just teach English; she taught English in China. So when you got a mother like that, that is coming from the hood and making a way out of no way, who is determined and adamant about accomplishing the goals that she set for herself, you would definitely have a son who is in alignment with that and taking that to an even greater level. So that kind of gives you a little more of an understanding of why his mind is like it is. And then when you have been exposed to different things and positive things, it's like no bounds, no limits. And whatever is occurring is circumstances that you can get over and overcome. So a lot of times people who are limited in their thinking, limited in their experiences, they think differently from somebody who has had the opportunity to explore and to learn more and to become more diverse. So we here at the Shy Love Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, and iHeart Radio, as well as Spotify Premium. We hope that you have been enjoying this show, part 2 on the Kanye West presidential run, his Forbes magazine interview. He spoke so much that we will have a part 3 coming up. So stay tuned, stay close, collect all the facts. Love.